There was a time when Panera Bread was the national meeting spot for Americans, a place where students carried laptops and sat all day with free Wi Fi office workers dropped by for lunch, and families chose it as a healthy solution instead of McDonald's or Burger King. But today, the Panera cafes that were once crowded now have only empty chairs and locked doors. What killed a brand that was once so glorious? Panera Bread did not begin as an F&B empire, but only as a small bakery in St. Louis in the 1980s. But from that neighborhood bakery route, they saw a gap in the market. At that time. Americans had only two clear choices: cheap, greasy fast food or expensive, time-consuming sit-down restaurants. Panera entered like a breath of fresh air, creating the concept of fast casual, quick but still refined and healthy. You did not need to spend a whole hour at a restaurant, but you also did not have to gulp down a greasy burger box. At Panera, everything was designed to create the feeling of fast food but classy. The main highlight was the bread bowl, a round, hollowed-out loaf filled with hot soup, both unique and convenient. It quickly became the signature dish tied to the brand. Along with that, the You Pick Two combo allowed customers to freely combine two items: a salad, a soup, or a half sandwich, making the meal both abundant and balanced. The space of Panera was also completely different. Instead of plastic chairs and neon lights like McDonald's, Panera chose upholstered sofas, warm lighting, and soft background music. This was a place where you could eat, work, or chat with friends for hours. And do not forget, Panera was one of the first chains to give free Wi-Fi, turning itself into an open office for students, freelancers, and office workers. In the early 2000s, everywhere you went, you saw Panera. People came not only to eat, but to experience. It carried a touch of luxury while remaining approachable. For many Americans, especially the middle class, eating at Panera was like a lifestyle statement. I care about health, I choose refinement, but I'm also practical and busy. At its peak, Panera had thousands of locations serving millions of customers every day. It became the national brand for anyone seeking a mix of convenience, health, and comfort. With Panera, having lunch was not just about eating, it was a cultural experience. In 2017, Panera Bread became the center of the business world when the private equity group Jabby Holding Company spent $7.5 billion to acquire it. Jabby was no amateur. They were the giant behind familiar names like Peet's Coffee, Caribou Coffee, Krispy Kreme, Einstein Bros Bagels, and even held stakes in many luxury brands in Europe. At that time, this deal was hailed as the step that would take Panera to the next level, helping this fast casual chain expand globally to challenge Starbucks. But expectations quickly turned into illusions. For JB, Panera was no longer a heartfelt, identity-rich bakery cafe. It was only a money machine. And when financial investors enter the F&B industry, the script almost always looks the same: cut costs, maximize profits, regardless of customer experience. Right after JAB took over, silent changes began to spread. Recipes were simplified, many fresh ingredients were replaced with cheaper, lower quality ones to save on production costs. The baking process was shortened. Instead of letting dough ferment for enough hours, many loaves that lacked full rise and aroma were still taken out of the oven just to meet sales numbers. Night shift bakers were laid off in large numbers. These were once the soul of Panera, the people who ensured that every morning customers walked into the smell of freshly baked bread. But for JAB, they were only excess costs. Frozen food gradually replaced freshly made items: soup, mac and cheese. Even pastries were pre-made, packaged, and only reheated before being served. For customers, these changes revealed themselves without advertising. The once golden crispy bread now tasted bland. The soups that used to be rich and creamy now had a canned flavor, and sandwiches often came out cold and lifeless. For those who had long been loyal to Panera, what they felt was not just worse food, but a betrayal. They came to Panera because they believed it was the place of fast but healthy eating, where every dish was handcrafted, different from industrial fast food. But now Panera had been stripped of its soul, becoming just another soulless chain like countless others. Worse, the transformation happened too fast and too blatantly. People did not need to be food experts to recognize that Panera was no longer Panera. After the turning point of 2017, Panera Bread began to decline. And this slide came not only from food quality, but also from trust. Yay, the secret weapon that had won customers' hearts for decades. First was pricing. Panera had already been in the group of more expensive than traditional fast food, but people accepted it because they believed the quality and experience were worth it. Yet only a few years later, prices kept rising while portions grew smaller. A sandwich that once made a full lunch now looked so tiny that many customers mocked you finish still hungry, but your wallet emptier. Next was the shrinking menu, dishes tied to customers' memories, from hot soups to the famous warm bowls, quietly vanished without notice. People came to Panera to find familiar flavors, but only found a menu that changed, constantly lacking attachment. This uncertainty made many loyal customers turn away. Then came the big scandals. The fatal blows to the brand charged lemonade Panera promoted it as a natural energy drink alternative to coffee. But the harsh truth was that just one cup of this lemonade contained more caffeine than Red Bull and Monster combined. The result, a wave of lawsuits, accusations that the drink caused heart problems and even tragic deaths. Panera was forced to add warning labels, then quietly pulled the product, but the brand image was badly damaged. Frozen mac and cheese. A TikTok clip spread across social media showing Panera employees simply taking a frozen bag of mac and cheese, dropping it into boiling water, then serving it to customers. The clip shocked not because the recipe was awful, but because it exposed deceit. A dish once advertised as cooked fresh was actually an industrial, reheated product. These two cases were nails in the coffin. Panera not only lost its uniqueness, but also lost the trust that had made customers willing to pay more to choose Panera over McDonald's. And when trust is broken, a brand has no place left in customers' hearts. Dining rooms once packed are now sparse dishes, once praised are now called bland. For many, Panera today is nothing more than a failed premium fast food. Pricey, complicated, but soulless. When Panera was at its peak, they had almost invented the concept of fast casual, quick, refined, and giving the sense of healthier than fast food. But times changed too fast. In less than one decade, new challengers like Chipotle, Sweetgreen, Starbucks, and even Chick-fil-A captured the very customer base Panera once dominated: young urbanites, office workers, and middle-class health-conscious people. Chipotle stood out with the build-your-own burrito model. Customers could see fresh ingredients and choose preparation at the counter. Sweetgreen rode the organic salad, super healthy trend, creating the image of smart eating. Starbucks, once only a cafe, quickly expanded into light lunches, plus the cozy space experience Panera once prided itself on. The result, Panera gradually lost its competitive edge right on its own home turf. Meanwhile, instead of strengthening the bakery cafe identity that built its name, Panera started blindly chasing trends. They launched flatbread pizza, but not tasty enough to compete with Domino's or Pizza Hut. Coffee subscription packages like unlimited coffee at cheap prices, but this turned a brand once seen as premium into something cheap and careless. Packaged products in supermarkets like from soups to mac and cheese, but this only deepened the image of Panera as industrial food, completely opposite of the original fresh cooked on-site promise. Panera no longer held on to its unique soul. They tried to be everything at once: a cafe, a fast casual restaurant, a pizza shop, and a retail packaged brand. But when you try to be a bit of everything, you end up being nothing. Customers began to wonder, what exactly is Panera? A cafe, a quick lunch spot, a healthy dining place, or just fast food in a classy disguise? The brand's lost positioning made Panera lose its identity entirely, and in a market where new options appear, constantly being blurry means failure. Today, Panera Bread is still here with thousands of stores across America. But if you step inside, you will easily notice no more cozy dining rooms filled with people, no more smell of freshly baked bread in the morning, no more feeling that eating here is a unique experience. Instead, only quiet cafes, bland food, and a brand diluted among countless newer choices, tastier, cheaper, more authentic. The lesson here is very clear: in the world of fast casual, reputation cannot be a permanent shield. Customers today are smart, sharp, and spoiled with options. If you lose quality, honesty, and brand identity, they will leave you instantly without regret. Panera is living proof of the truth that just a few years of chasing short-term profit can topple a legacy built over decades in a blink. And what about you? Do you think Panera Bread still has a chance to revive, or has its golden age truly ended? Share your thoughts in the comments. I will read and respond to each one. Thank you for staying until the end. And do not forget to hit subscribe so you will not miss the next stories about the rise and fall of global food empires.